4 guys that know exactly where you are.
Yep.
How much utility do they have left, though?
They left Summer behind that initial 3-man push. As Ike said, oh, great angle, but his gun gets jammed in the tree. But now they know exactly where they are. Hakatori, though, the first one to open up, makes it a 3v3 fight.
And it's a really tough angle to push here as Na'Vi is just playing around that ridge line. As soon as they see anything, any head pop over the top, Chewy will hold it. He's going to find Diffix. Does he have another one in him, though?
They have all of them down here. They spot all of them now as well. Fair is still able to get one now. It's a 2v2. Couldn't commit to the rest fast enough. Ming able to get the first. They have him locked down on the rock. It's just Soset left alive, but Hakatori no make him able to get one, and now it's a 1v1. Summer committed to the rest. Obstacle Fit finds the kill, and that's going to be Petrichor Road out victorious. But what a valiant effort from Na'Vi in trying to turn that around.
If you were worried about either of these two teams being cold coming into today, well, worry no longer. They are just as hot as they were the day they left. Petrichor Road looking unstoppable, and Na'Vi looking like they were almost the ones that could do it.
In this final fight, every single player on these two teams had their highlight-worthy moments. They were hitting all the shots needed in order to try and claim it, and then for Summer to go off the rest, just catching a glimpse of a player through the edge of the smoke there and win it. What a finish.
Beautiful work from both of these squads, and good work from Sonics as well, as we had a number of teams that we were happy to see in that final. But let's throw it over to the desk to break down game number 1.
Has Petrichor Road finally hit that prophesized stride that we were expecting from them on international soil? That's the question. They already came into today with a #1, and now they've got themselves yet another win on the board. This is Petrichor Road looking all sorts of awesome here at PGC.
The road to PGC for Petrichor has been muddy at best. Ups and downs, backs and forths, but here at PGC, it has been nothing but non-stop. And I was worried, will they come out a little bit rusty? Will Na'Vi come out a little bit rusty? And that end game was everything I could have wanted out of game 1 here on our circuit final.
I think the brilliant thing for me watching Petrichor Road at this tournament so far is that, again, I said it in the previous circuit, I'm going to say it again, it's not just the Ikeslef show.
Yes.
It's every single component of this team coming together, where for many tournaments beforehand, we've thought to ourselves, yeah, okay, and everyone's not gelling around Ikeslef. Ikeslef's had to go out there and do some carrying. But it doesn't feel that way at this tournament at all. Chewy's able to step up, Summer's able to step up, Ming's able to step up. So Petrichor Road's looking deadly in a tournament where we already had so many deadly names. I don't think I was including Petrichor Road in them, but now I am.
I wasn't. I mean, when you talk about them coming out of the PGCs, they were 15th and 18th respectively at the last series.
Yeah.
So showing up here, I think people didn't have as many expectations, and perhaps that's what they needed. They needed the sort of freedom that not everybody was watching them 24/7. They came out, they played their game, and it really seems strong as a 4-man roster right now. They've been very impressive to watch. But also worth noting, Na'Vi coming out a little bit cold, 2 days off. They didn't look cold at all. They were playing incredibly aggressive. I think you noticed that they left the top of the hill a little bit. I thought that might have been trouble, but they came right back up and took it when they needed it.
Yeah, I also thought that might have been trouble. I can't speak today. Also thought that might have been trouble. Of course, Daytrade kind of wrestled away that high ground from them, but what's important is that Na'Vi noticed exactly when Daytrade was paying more attention to Petrichor Road than their angle to then move back up onto that high ground and be able to wrestle it away from Daytrade eventually. And indeed, they do it in spades. They didn't get as many kills as a Petrichor Road, but they still did enough to really solidify themselves up towards the top. And as Horo was saying, it's just at the very end of that as a whole, we had our concerns about how hot they were going to come in. Both of these teams, flying colors to start.
Yeah, I would say that Circuit 1 final left a lot of people, I think, a little gun-shy about some
bit scared.
Teams. Yeah, not having to play time, because it's true. The meta evolves, the games change. You sort of at an event like this, the more games you get, the more you'll understand the way the lobbies are going to work. But these are also two teams that have the ability to sit down, watch the lobbies, and walk away. They have great support staff, especially in the context of Na'Vi. They can sit there and say, okay, this is how the game's working. Here's how our system fits into that. And you saw that beautifully in this game. It wasn't an easy one. I mean, that was a kind of a tough transition. We saw a lot of kerfuffle getting over to that ridge line. A lot of teams getting, I mean, Sonics, we thought they had a good spot and then gone, right? I mean, Sonic Sandwich, that Petrichor sandwich was just too much.
Our first and second circles just kind of affording the lobby already those annoying decisions, right? Of course, you've got the water, how it divides up the north and the south of things. So all of those teams having to transition and then eventually try and find themselves a spot. When you've already got Na'Vi that's established themselves on the high ground as well as that important compound. Twisted Minds in that 2-2 split obviously gets pushed off of that 2-2 split quite aggressively, I would say, because all of those teams are looking for those center spots.
And it was, I think, because of everybody pouring out of that Georgia Pool 2 at the end there, it just did get a little too chaotic to be running those 2-2 splits. But what I like to see is a lot of proactivity. Even Clories, I think there was a moment where I was worried for Na'Vi. Clories was kind of doing that sneaky backstab you might have learned from Amy yesterday, but Na'Vi was not to be caught off guard. They've learned the lessons that some of our other teams have learned this week, and they had someone dedicated to watching that blue line, and it worked out.
Well, efficient damage, it's going to be 16 kills across the 1,700 damage coming out from Petrichor Road. 7 for Na'Vi. Day Trade gets themselves 8, and Sonic, sneaky up to the top, gets 5 on the board. They did get absolutely evaporated, though, by Petrichor Road.
They did, but this is still big for them to start with a good placement, some good kills, 7 points coming into here. That was not a good position for them. And they are one of those teams, kind of like Cerberus, that if they don't get started fast, everyone else in the lobby will look to get them eliminated. One of the teams that could do that is Petrichor Road, because they were at a point coming in today where they are essentially qualified. After this game, I think there's no one who's going to say, well, Petrichor's not seeing the grand final of PGC. They should be locked in. 16 kills plus a win. Yeah, they're good to go. That means that for the rest of this circuit final and the next one, they get to push their will on everyone else in the lobby, and that is exciting if you're a Petrichor fan, terrifying if you are a favorite to win PGC and your team's not in the top.
Yeah, it does make you wonder, right? Like, what could they do now if they so chose? As Ming will be the man of the match. Good for him from this game. Not too surprising, considering he did 700 damage with that 5 kills. But okay, so I theorize what they would do, right? One challenge to me that instantly would pop up would be something like a Miramar, be it Power Grid or something like that. However, it does feel like Twisted Minds even now, with what they have on the board so far, I think it's something like 40 points, and then whatever may come today probably ends up being enough for them anyway. So where else do you exert pressure?
I think it behooves Twisted Minds that Miramar is at the end of today.
Yeah,
it works out very well in their favor.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we've got 26 points coming in for Petrichor Road, as you mentioned. Congratulations to them. We are seeing them in the grand final. Na'Vi with 19 points as well. Is that 13 points? 13. Sorry, I can't read. But
math.
But obviously that's pretty much kind of solidifying them as well, right? They came in really strong from Circuit 1, and so an extra 13 points is going to be splendid.
Absolutely, and I do like walking down there, Gen G T1, another team that came in with a really high point total, walks with 5. They had a little more, I think, of a troublesome run for them. They got caught in a couple of pickoffs. They sort of had to struggle to survive, but ultimately coming away with 5 points is, those teams are going to be very happy to just kind of grind it up, get their 4 points, 5 points per game, and then look for that one where they do manage to get their hands on a circle. TSM, Twisted Minds, both getting 0, 17 as well. Very consistent teams coming into this event. I don't like that slow start, but, you know, tough circle. Maybe we can just, we'll give them one more. We'll give them one more before I stress out.
A little bit of a tough circle to start things, and then you see that kind of cause a bit of a frenetic pace at the beginning, right? If you think about the Eternal Fire and Expendable situation, I thought Eternal Fire was going to be able to dominate the Expendable situation, and then all of a sudden, the huge turnaround, and both of them end up with only 2 or 3 points each, which Eternal Fire looked fantastic in the previous circuit, but this isn't the best start for them.
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Expendables has played every single day here, right? If there is a hot team that has the chance to sort of turn the tides on a team that's a little bit colder coming in today in the first 1 or 2 games, it's the Expendables, and that's what we saw. They looked really crisp when they came in. They did lose some people, but the Expendables don't mind losing to win, right? Like, they will sacrifice to get a couple extra points on the board, and don't be surprised to see them doing it all day.
They've been a bit of a firecracker in the past.
I love watching them.
Yeah, they're good fun. They are good fun, and we'll see if they can get some more points on the board coming into this one, as TSM there looking poised to try and strike out for some more points. Very important points. It was a home circle effectively for them to a degree. Not too many on the board from it, but let's get to our second grassy pastures of the day. Erangel is on the cards here. We've got the Danish Dynamo in Toby casting with Mr. Porosaurus.
Thank you very much. And yes, we are getting ready to head into game number 2. And toot toot, Toby, all aboard the Petrichor Road hype train because it has left the station in the most violent way possible.
And worrying for other teams now with them being so far ahead. I mean, they said it on this. Congrats, you guys are in the grand finals, and I think we can kind of say that too here already. And now the fear factor becomes how much does Petrichor just want to keep racking up points to get into finals and first? Or how much have people made enemies of Petrichor, and how much are they willing to just spend the rest of the day hunting? At least right now, with what it looks in terms of where they're landing, they're going down towards their Fairy Pier split. Should be safe, but if you mean, if they see red and they see a certain team they want out of the lobby, they can, for all matters, just continue hot dropping them all day.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if nothing else, we know that they're not concerned with anybody sharing their drop locations on Erangel. So for now, playing it safe. But look at the Falcons. Falcons actually getting real close to Gen G over there, trying to make their way down to Milta. And other than that, I don't see a whole heck of a... Actually, 4 a.m. and T1. Oh, did T1 finally do it? Did they do it? Are they hot dropping?
They might have. I mean, they're definitely going up in that direction. I think they're all going to commit to vehicles here, though. Ooh, this is a nice circle, Paul. I remember 2 PGCs ago, you and I casted a game which had this exact circle, and we coined this one. What do we call it? Wow.
Just like the basic donut. What is it?
The plain
donut.
White bagel.
There you go, the plain white bagel.
There we go. You know what? I actually had a bagel for dinner as well today, so it couldn't be any better.
Oh, how fitting.
Crazy circles yesterday, just they were chilling a bit, and if you want to chill with some of the player comms as well, you can hop on over to PUBGESports.com, click on your favorite team that is streaming their comms right now, and get a listen in. Preferably, if you listen to the Chinese teams, it's beneficial to speak Chinese, because I don't think they have subtitles.
No, they do not. And apparently Zenith didn't get the message that they're going to North George because he's still over in Yasnaya. But you know what? Hey, nobody else over there. Go do your little loot, man. You got all the time in the world, really, to catch up with things here.
A bit of a split.
Yeah, just a bit. Just a bit. Well, nothing getting too crazy early on here, although 4 a.m., they've got some decision-making to do because they have just been driving. Like, they got vehicles, but they haven't had a real legitimate spot to loot here. But we've got an interview with Adder, so let's hear what he had to say.
일단 서킷 1에서 게임을 못했기 때문에 이번 2에서 확실히 포인트를 많이 가져가고 그 다음에 3에서 3도 무조건 올라가서 이제 3도 잘 마무리해서 결승까지 꼭 가야겠다는 마음가짐을 하고 있습니다. 서킷 1 때는 저희가 첫 판부터 좀 꼬였어서 저희의 제대로 된 게임을 못했던 것 같고, 그래서 2부터는 저희의 원래 하던 게임 스타일 그대로 천천히 앞뒤 한 칸 한 칸 따면서 안전하게 꼼꼼하게 게임을 했던 것 같습니다. 그래서 점점 더 좋아지고 있는 것 같고 앞으로도 더 좋아질 것 같습니다.
Gen G definitely able to turn around the slump of some start of Circuit 1 here, coming into Circuit 2, and he brings up a valid point. He, among other teams here today, did not get any points in the first Circuit Finals, so not only, of course, do they want to maximize their potential today, but they are almost also having to make finals in the third circuit. So definitely important for the teams that have not before now been able to get any points going to rack up a lot today.
Well, we might end up getting that T1 4 a.m. fight and after all, although it may not be the way that T1 was expecting. Is 4 a.m. They're making their way into Yasnaya to finally get some loot. I think they've got enough. They've got some stuff, but obviously they don't have work-withable kits, as Zenith is being very... He's just lying on his tummy, just being very sneaky about things. I think he knows what's coming. He's got the boys that are trailing him right now, though.
You know what? There is a chance that he expects this. He's hearing the cast at a distance, and he is arguably prone in one of the most, I'm going to loot, like the first building you mark when you drop Yasnaya with the friends is, I'm going to go to the 6-stack, or the 4-stack on that western side of the city. So if they are going to go into the city, you'd imagine someone runs in there. Now, did he close doors behind him? Did he leave no traces of his appearance here? Then maybe he catches a 4 a.m. player off guard. But they're actually stopping. HSMM and GodV are stopping up on the ridge line to try and scout and make sure that no one's in the city. So the fact that Zenith is proning and waiting, that could catch them off guard.
Yeah, they're going to see the rest of T1 arriving, fortunately. So that's good intel.
Great read by 4AM. The fact that they care to do this stop and scout.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he's only got 30 rounds, but at least he's got a 6X and an SLR, so they've got something to work with for the time being at least. But will they fully commit to looting up in Yasnaya at this point? Now that the rest their other duo has since gone off to places east, don't think they should.
Now, we called the first circle a plain white bagel for a reason. Because in terms of being able to rotate to it, in terms of are you in it already, almost all teams are. The thing is, as plain and white and easy to rotate to as it is, you have Potato on the east side of the circle center. You have Pachinki on the west side of the circle center. In the early game, that really only caters to a very small handful of teams, as we see Elo struggle to get out of the get out of the window there. So you could actually, despite how simple this circle is, see commotion early game, because center is hard to claim for many teams, especially when the likes of 17 Gaming are trying to set up splits here. Ike's left. Here in vehicles of day trade, he has Ming with him too. Summer is there as well. Chewy spots it all from Pachinki Hill. This is a great read once again by Petrichor.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this was an intended camp or just a camp of convenience or of good fortune that they just happen to catch these guys out. As you see Ike's left, he's spotted.
Yep.
He knows exactly what's going on. But they're slow playing it because they don't know where all of them are.
And so Chewy is seeing everything. Like, he has eyes from up. We don't know what scope he's playing around with, but should be able to, every time they peek over that plateau kind of just west of where Ike's is sat, he sees them. And he's not going to take any shots at all. He's going to try and bait them towards his teammates. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, maybe that's actually the bait. Maybe that is the bait. As we get a bit of a highlight here of the previous match. Phenomenal edge sweep by Petrichor. Something I feel like it's been a while since we've seen coming in to PGC. They haven't been able to execute these plays to the same extent that they did here to begin the day.
Yeah, a lot of highlights to choose from as these guys were popping for real. Looks like
two down.
Yeah, the Petrichor will find two off a day trade, and now they've got Belmoth in the compound and Thanadol at the gas station. So Petrichor rode the perfectly timed strike once again as the rich get a little bit richer here.
Yep, able to find one more. Day trade thought they were safe and rotating in from that west side. But Petrichor got here first. They sat around and waited. Now Thanadol and Belmoth still very much capable of packing a punch. They're kind of tangled in among all of them. I'm not sure if they're aware on the side of Petrichor that Thanadol is actually behind him.
No, that's what I was wondering, why they were taking a little bit of time to spring that trap, because they just didn't know where everybody was. So they had the two that were in the hills picked out, and they had Belmoth in the compound that they knew about, but they just didn't know where that fourth guy was. And they still don't, as Thanadol is hanging out in that gas station. But shouldn't take too long for him to pull it together. But, I mean, I think at this point you got your 2 free kills. Just go move on and play out the rest of the game, especially now that Chewy should have seen Sonics starting to make their way in just off to the west.
Would have definitely hurt the vehicles coming in. I think that's why you saw him get into a car just before. I think he thought maybe Sonics were going to try and get all the way up the ridgeline. Here we get a little replay of the kills coming in. Just great initiation. Summer gets the headshot, or the body shot headshot, and then as soon as they try to go wrap around the side and cover, they go, haha, this is what we wanted you to do. Catch him in traffic, finding 2, and now Petrichor can leave with a smile on their face.
I mean, sometimes you're just, everything's clicking. You're in a flow state, and you've got control over the movements of other players.
Yeah.
That's how good everything's going for you. And right now, Petrichor's right in that state as we check in with Virtus Pro. They're trying to make their way across Boatyard, but they've got Kwandong Freaks spread out amongst them as well.
Not in a hurry to leave whatsoever.
Only 2.
Blue is still way too far away for BME to want to go anywhere close towards the circle center. They're going to be waiting.
Out of his element.
I feel like they have read that it should be a split on the side of Kwandong Freaks, mainly because why would 4 be in Boatyard phase 1 when there's a Rostock looting team? And it's not us coming in on this side of the circle. So I think they know that it's a split, but they still don't want to, like, not too eager to go early game aggression. It's not really the style of Virtus Pro. And when they have the room up on the northern side, rather lock that down, shoot the circles hard shift. You can wrap north around and use that as a highway to get to circle 2.
Check in with T1 after looting up in Yasnaya. They'll make their way down here. 4 AM, they're going to eat a little bit of blue. They were obviously keeping very close eyes on T1, and they're not going to follow the same path that they took. Instead, it looks like they're cutting back off to the north. So maybe coming in just behind backfilling VP as we wait for that second circle. And there you go, another donut right onto the top of Pachinki. And yep, that's where Pachinki is. Thank you, Red Circle.
And 4AM is far away. So is T1. Thank you, observers. A Salute peeks on over, finds one. Bean is able to find Nixie as well.
Oh,
We complimented the patience of Virtus Pro, but Salute and the Freaks were just that much more patient, running right into the middle of that split. They were waiting for it, and they get to punish.
well, it was just an issue of unfortunate timing on VP's part, because the trailing duo were still in Razak.
Yeah.
And they did come over until that circle pop, and right as VP got into their vehicles to start making their rotation where they want to play in this next zone, that just happened to be the exact same time as Bean and Salute were arriving from Razak. So just again, just a matter of seconds makes all the difference in the world.
And this proves my hunch as well, because there's no way they would have rotated through Razak had they thought it was a two-way split.
Yeah.
So maybe they thought actually that this would be Boatyard, maybe with the players over in Ruins as well, that they were set up with. But no way they thought that would be teams inside Razak with the route they opted to take.
Yeah, unfortunate read there as we check in with Eternal Fire. They are taking a spot in between the two hills. We see this get a lot of play.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if we see it get played this early. We'll see how it plays out as they are in a 2-2 split. They should be safe though. They've got Petrichor just off to their west, up on the top of the hill, and Na'Vi just off to their east. And they're not really too concerned with taking shots down into that valley just yet.
There's so much space on the south. I know it's just open
There
fields,
is,
but in terms of rotation opportunities, I mean, I like how Na'Vi is setting up on the edge. Sonic's doing the same thing towards the west. There's a lot of gatekeeping right now. A lot of, we want to make sure, like when you're playing edge, it's so important to spend half, if not more, the time looking outside the circle. You can see that's actually what Na'Vi is doing right now.
Sosid.
For those of you who have the map stream open, Sosid is shooting a kilometer away to apply pressure to Sonic, saying, guys, go away. Oh, sorry, no, not Sonic's, T1. Go away, we don't want you here. We want to play into the circle with our backs free.
It's working.
It's the only way you can do these sweeps that we see in the mid to end game. You can't do it if you have solos lingering all around you. So nice awareness on the side of Na'Vi this time around to be able to dispatch T1 and force them to go back north.
Yeah, Sosid doing a really good job of just basically dictating the rotation path of an entire squad there, as we see the Lynx getting picked up by Scrimsy. And they have a lot of control over everything off to the southwest, really.
Yeah.
Now, Petrichor Road, they still have guys on the top of that southern Pachinki Hill. But they've got Summer left in the compound by himself. Nobody heading over there just yet. 4 AM, meanwhile, they're going to send it just to the north side of Potato Hill, and so far, so good for them.
You say that, but I'm curious as to
where
they're planning on stopping, because if they're going where I'm thinking, they're going
to city?
straight into Falcons. And, well, I mean, maybe they're not going that far if they flip their vehicles in the fields, but now with them being shot at by 3 teams make it, as both Expendable 17 and Falcons have started shooting. I think 4AM are starting to realize, wait, this was a bad idea. The issue is they're already full speed through a field. You cannot stop at this point. You have to commit to it.
Yeah, and that's the full commit right there. Okay, well, they get everybody in, and that is a phase 2 dead center circle send, but it pays off for 4 AM so far. We'll see if the next circle will give them some more love here, and it does to an extent, but I don't know if they're going to be able to leave.
That's the issue, right?
Look at all these E-pickups just getting popped everywhere.
Yep, that is the issue, and it's the teams obviously inside the city that are about to leave, but no one from Expendables opted to take that E-pickup. Makes sense when you've just heard 4 teams shooting, and you were one of them towards the team coming in. Falcons now trying to go for the granny on the northern side of the double bounce east of Jinky, but they're in a race, foot race with 17 getting there early though.
They won the race, and they got the knock on a Xiao Wu as well. So just once again, a matter of seconds making all the difference here, as 17 loses out on their first option, but they find a second one here in the compound.
And it really is annoying too, because I actually looking back at it now, I don't think they were ever opting to stop there. 17, that is. I think they wanted to go back and regroup because they have prime real estate now, but now playing this prime position, but with only 3, that's an annoying loss to have for 17 early on.
Yeah, you hate to say it. Petrichor Road, meanwhile, they're going to send it right into Pachinki. They've got 4 AM on the other side here in those gullies, those ridges, but they're not going any further than they necessarily have to here. But 4 AM is already going to just run away. Just kind of bring everybody back together, as they have a spot to play here. So not Not too terrible.
And that's the issue, right? Because the circle center that we talked about before with Pochinki fields straight into Potato Hill, you can't really utilize that at all. So yes, Petrichor gets to backfill and go into the city from the south. But Na'Vi, I mean, they were the ones to potentially try and backfill, but they're now getting kept out by Gen G. So I love how the gatekeepers become the kept.
Yeah.
As Na'Vi is now the ones to try and string around. Honestly, T1 might get revenge in this one from before, because it looks like Na'Vi are wrapping so far north that they could be running into one another.
Yeah, they sure might. And yeah, I mean, look, T1, they've got school, they've got apps, they've got everything.
Yeah.
Has that high ground here, and if somebody takes, I mean, you see Hakatori's going to stop down and just scout out, but he's going to see somebody running around up there. So that's intel for Na'Vi. And now I think that this might just be going to that same path that 4 AM took on the north, just north of Potato, between Potato and the apps.
I mean, hindsight 2020, but T1 should be pretty happy. It's a blessing in disguise that they were
great.
forced to go back towards the north with how this circle swung. And now, I mean, T1, they have opted to put both Type and E and up on the hillside proper. And Na'Vi, obviously ditching their vehicles, are going to play in on foot. In the meantime, Belmoth has just made his way to the top of LGS and is now on his way back again on the bike. Exactly.
Yep. Well,
like that I'm not the only one doing that. Thank you, Boro.
You're welcome. Well, yeah, it feels like Thanadol and Belmoth just kind of gave each other a hug and a handshake and just said, well, good luck, and sent it off into two opposite directions here as Na'Vi are electing to push into the apps. Now, there is only one at the apps right now, and that's Zenith, but he is landing some nice shots here as the circle will go center once again, but Na'Vi has a foothold.
And that's a terrifying pull-up now, too, connecting to the apps right as the circle pops, realizing, wait, this ain't even in. Can we back off? Can we get up the hillside? But at this point, they're in too deep. They have to try and take the fight, at least clear out Zenith to then get back and wrap into the north side on foot.
Yeah, Zenith trying to do his best to force Na'Vi to make a different decision to come somewhere else. But unfortunately, at this point of the game, there's just nowhere else to go. So Na'Vi just had to send all four, and I think they got a good read on how split these guys were. So Ferris just going to push with that Panzerfaust in hand. And he's listening for footsteps if he can hear them.
Ooh,
Zenith, you sneaky boy. He's got him up top, but Ferris reads him like a book as he drops the grenade. You got to get on the move, Zenith. Is he standing up? Okay, it bounced off. Oh, no, Ferris. Look at this man.
People get so brave when they run around with massive explosions in their hands.
They sure do, don't they?
Where are you? I got a Panzerfaust. I'm going to get you.
Hey, at least he almost went down himself, too. So we almost got to see some more self-afflicted wounds from the Panzerfaust, which has been a big player so far in this tournament, as we see Gen G making their way up to Weibo. And so far, it looks like I got the knock. I think somebody's lost one at least off of this.
Huge fight, but more importantly, they got to get this one done with fast. Because look at who's coming in from the south side. A team that third partied everything in the previous game. Petrichor has read this one perfectly. And if they get up here in time, Gen G has no chance but to turn around and get completely sandwiched.
A lot of crashes going on right now as Petrichor Road is going to go just to the downhill side of that Gen G Weibo fight. Meanwhile, T1 and Na'Vi still squaring off, but T1 is coming out ahead right now. Na'Vi, I believe, down to just their final player. And who is at the time in the smoke? Sosid. And they're going to see him from the side. There's another crash going on as well as Kwangdong Freaks crashing onto 17 over in the compound just off to the west of here. But Sosid just being a thorn in the side here. And there you go. Ibby, the solo player from Virtus Pro, is going to miss most of that. Raining will stay alive for the time being.
Thank you, Buggy, is what Raiden will say, because that tanked all the bullets coming through there. Sosid, again, able to stay alive, delaying the initial route into the circle for T1, at least by a little bit. Again, Zenith fell earlier, so they have to respect the fact that there's a solo behind. Finally, though, he's been dealt with. Now they want to get their last teammate over towards him. Issue is, I was just going to say, new circle is about to pop. Raiden falls to blue. There's no way of getting him back up.
Yeah, I think Ibby got him low enough to where he went down to blue. So T1 unfortunately going to lose that one there after they kind of came out ahead of that battle against the Na'Vi. So good stuff from them. Ian has spotted out Ibiza though. The shots. There you go. He's going to find it. And that'll be another kill in the pocket for T1. But they are down to 2. And Twisted Minds still looking off in that direction as well. You see them up on the north side. Sonics, meanwhile, they've down to 2. I think Kickstart and Shrimsy just split off One of them keeping track of the expendables coming out of Pachinki, the other one just trying to survive in waves.
So initial mission here for Petrichor successful in wrapping around and forcing the two teams to fight one another. Issue now is with the circle having shifted away, what do you do here? You know Weibo is right over the ridgeline. I feel like you have to play against them and then try and wrap it to the circle. Issue is Eternal Fire was just looking at them. What are they going to do off of this? Because if you finish this fight fast and you can collapse on the Eternal Fire Falcons fight that's happening now, this might be a great play. Snakers peeks on out, able to find one. Roth gets one as well. Snakers finds the double, almost goes for his teammate there as they completely annihilate Eternal Fire.
Snakers killing everybody out here. He almost took out his own teammate, as you said, but that is a huge big win there for Falcons as they will keep all four alive. They have the compound in zone. Meanwhile, Petrichor Road has arrived, but Weibo, they have now turned their attention over towards them after finishing off their fight with 4 AM, but it's only 2 left alive. Summer peeking over the top, but Spaceman will win it. Ike's left will clean it up.
T1 trying to push up on this one too. It's just a duo left alive. And Sai able to find the first one. Hasn't gotten the flush and Ike's up just yet, but keep your eyes on the minimap. Here they come over the hillside, and Ian is going to be able to get the first point. Sai finds one more before eventually going down, but the damage has been done. Ming now all on his own.
Ming knows it too. He's going to try to get in the vehicle, but Type ain't going to let that happen. 8 kills for T1, 6 in the bag for Ian as they continue to dominate over the top side of this high ground. And they're going to, I don't know where they're going to go next because they've got to find somewhere. Twisted Minds has pushed out and have actually come up on this south side. They're down to 3 after Shrimsy stole away one from Twisted Minds.
Lovely util distribution from Delwyn here. Try to isolate in the corner, throw 2 mollies in, throw a nade in the last room. You gotta hit him with something. Delwyn does exactly that. Gets the kill onto Thanadol, eliminating Daytrade without really a whole lot of risk involved for himself.
A lot of beaten and bruised teams right now. Only 2 still at full strength, and that's TSM and Falcons. TSM coming out of Pachinki. They're now turning their attention back over to the Expendables as we take a look at that replay of Falcons surviving the onslaught from Eternal Fire. Snakers, what a play from him, man.
That's a huge turnaround too, because it's actually Relo that falls first. I mean, the initial
good trade.
Initial entry is in favor of Eternal Fire, but Snakers able to turn that one around. Phenomenal player now. Ian, 7 kills, 400 damage. Where, my friend, are you planning on stopping this vehicle?
He is just sending it to whatever shelter he can find, and he'll find a little bit there as he's getting shot at by Suju. The Expendables, meanwhile, after getting harassed by TSM on the north side, are going to send it towards that ridge line on the road. They've left Clories behind inside the city. 4 AM, actually, Zepion, Shapion, and HSM were still on the low side there, but a nice grenade from Duck Shoes will find HSM.
I like the wraparound here from Expendables and the fact that they know that they have players out on the roadside. They need to try and deal with them. Falcons just casually run down to low. Ain't nothing to worry about. You should be fine in doing so. It is just a duo, sure, but you have 17 sat. That's a scary crossfire, and TSM could potentially up to line up something similar.
All right, everything on the south side here now needs to come to a head. TSM, there's not really a whole lot for them to play. They know, or should have an idea, that End, the raid boss of this round, is at that shelter spot. Falcons have to leave their compound as well, and you've still got 3-piece of the Expendables making their way out of Pachinki. So there could be some fights that happen here towards the end here as everybody wants to avoid the line of sight of 17 in their compound.